like us, I think we should start this episode of LoreX with our best impression of the werehog scream. I'll go first. Ah!
Very nice.
You next.
Very nice. Let me try.
Dude, that was really good. What the heck?
I have been practicing and waiting for this day.
Clearly you have been.
Welcome to the LoreX podcast. And today we are going a little bit back in time to when night and day were clashing in the world of Sonic the Hedgehog. And we got Sonic Unleashed.
What a beautiful game this was. Lycos, did you ever play Sonic Unleashed?
I actually don't remember if I played it or not, but I know at minimum I watched friends play it. Because I had like two different friends who had this game. I don't know. The intro to this game I thought was kind of weird. Those unaware, basically kicks off like a normal Sonic game. Eggman has his fleet in space. Sonic shows up, starts wrecking house, becomes super form, and basically wrecks Eggman's stuff. But before he defeats Eggman for, saving the day, Eggman captures him in a pod and has energy extractors to extract the Chaos Emerald energy from Sonic to power his ray gun that fires at planet Earth, cracking it into pieces to release this entity known as Dark Gaia. And Eggman's like, yes, my plan worked. It's great. It's beautiful. And then Sonic is now in this new form where he is furry. His arms are huge. And he's like, oh, Eggman, what the heck have you done? Eggman's like, ew, eject. And so Sonic gets spaced with all of the Chaos Emeralds, which are now out of juice, and he crash lands on Earth. And he bumps into this weird little maroon imp chihuahua thing who has no memory, and they go on adventuring to stop Eggman, fix the planet, and hopefully get this little imp thing's memories back.
I love how you likened Light Gaia, Chip, to a chihuahua.
I'm actually quoting the wiki page there.
I can kind of see that, though, to be perfectly honest. I mean, look at this little fairy-looking dude.
Yeah, I don't like Chip. He kind of creeps me out. Do you know what his original name was going to be?
Sparky or Rex?
Good guesses.
I mean, like with the whole Chihuahua thing, right? Like,
so his original name was going to be Whip, like referring to like whipped cream, and that's kind of like why he has like that fluff on the top of his head to kind of look like whipped cream. But when they brought this over to Sega of America, they're like, yeah, no, we're not. We can't have that as the name.
Whip.
Yeah,
whipped.
Exactly, because whips, getting whipped, that's not a good thing.
I mean, I also thought of the implication of like whippets, but like, you know. We also have, we have cream and vanilla and cheese and stuff, and I feel like it just kind of puts it a little bit far.
Yeah, that kind of goes into like their territory.
Yeah.
And, considering Cream's a mob boss and everything, she'd probably just gun him down.
Yeah, totally.
Don't get in our turf, nerd!
In particular, about Sonic Unleashed, I was super intrigued in talking about Sonic's werehog form, which we don't really see that transformation type anywhere else except for like a couple of parallels between some other transformations. And I think, Lycos, you wanted to kind of do a dive into just like the plot of Unleashed and a couple of the implications of the game. Yeah,
I wanted to talk more about like the game itself, going like details about like how it was received, a lot of like the promotional stuff they did, stuff like that. And porque no los dos.
True. Why don't you go first? I've got my rants and implications on the werehog, but I can save my rant to a little bit later in the episode.
Okay, I guess going to finish like just a plot synopsis of the game, you go to try and find out more about this werehog form and also help Chip find his memories. You interact with a man named Professor Pickle, who is an expert in ancient literature. He shares this tale about Dark Gaia and Light Gaia, who were sealed in the earth, and basically that's who Eggman is trying to use to build his new Eggman land. And you find out that there are these ancient Gaia temples that can restore the power of the Chaos Emeralds. And Chip still wants to help out, so you and Chip go around to these temples, restoring the power of the emeralds and putting the earth back together. At the last temple, Chip recovers his memories and learns that he is actually Light Gaia, the opposite of Dark Gaia, like the yin to the yang. So Dark Gaia is all about destruction, and Chip is about protection and restoration.
What a guy. What a chihuahua.
Yeah, so
Or imp.
So in the end, Dark Gaia kind of swats Eggman away because, of course, Eggman cannot control ancient powers, which he should have learned because this is, what, like the second or third time he's tried to use some ancient entity to conquer the world?
What was the first time? Because I know after this comes Time Eater.
Because first time was Chaos.
Ah, fair. Very fair. Yeah, yeah.
This gets to, like, probably, in my opinion, one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in Sonic. And I hate that I'm using this word, but I have no other way to describe it. So Super Sonic is fighting Dark Gaia, and Dark Gaia fully awakens and becomes perfect Dark Gaia. And so Chip, wanting to help his friend out, calls forth the power of the Gaia temples, and they transform into a giant golem called the Gaia Colossus. And I hate that I use the word dumb, but I have no other word to describe this. And I've seen footage of your boss fight. You're basically controlling Gaia Colossus, and you're basically boxing perfect Dark Gaia. And
please continue.
No, I want to hear your comments.
I love hearing how hurt you are in regards to large golem of chaos temples fighting primordial perfect dark beast from the earth's depths. Of all the things that you could complain about, you're just like, you know what? Rocks fighting primordial dark beast from the earth's depths?
Listen,
dumb. But like even furrier hedgehog with fangs? Cool.
I love golems, I love robots, but I think this is ridiculous.
That's okay. You have a right to be picky. It's okay.
With the power of the two fighting perfect Dark Gaia, you defeat perfect Dark Gaia, basically reseal it in the earth, and Chip, because he's the other half of it, gets resealed as well, and Sonic now has Chip's necklace as like a reminder of their adventures together. And, you know, he moves on with his day.
Beautiful. And that's the entire plot of Sonic Unleashed. Thanks for listening to the LoreX podcast.
Sonic Unleashed, for the gameplay of the game, has kind of like, there's two different gameplay. There's like your daytime stages, and that's just like classic Sonic platforming. Except this time they added a new mechanic, which is like a boost system that lets Sonic do like different techniques and stuff. They added this to give the players a better sense of speed without like being on a rail, so having it like more interactive. The other side of the coin, your nighttime stages, are where you're playing as the Werehog. They still have some platforming, but it's like slower, it's more combat based. I don't know why, but they decided to give the Werehog stretchy arms for some reason, so you can like grab on poles and stuff.
Big Tangle the Lemur energy.
Yeah, before Tangle the Lemur, because this was back in 08, so this was when Archie was still the comics.
Wait, was Archie still going around that time?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
The Archie comics tried to incorporate Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah,
okay, except they made it like very different. So it wasn't like Sonic who bumped into Chip. It was actually, I believe it was the Chaotix who found Chip, and Charmy was the one who ended up giving Chip their name.
Oh, interesting. What's interesting about Unleashed 2 is like Sonic has this experience system in the game and a sort of skill system type thing that I feel like is kind of reminiscent of what I've experienced in Sonic Generations, except it's like specific moves and combos that the Werehog can do, as opposed to just getting faster or getting certain like normal power-ups like the different shields and stuff in other games. And when I was doing my research, I remember I played a bit of Sonic Unleashed on, I want to say it was the Xbox 360, and apparently that skill system works differently on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versus how it works on the Wii and PlayStation 2 systems. I don't have like a good comparison between the two, but essentially like Sonic's Werehog form could get different hook attacks and different straight attacks, as well as aerial attacks and special attacks. And there's a whole list of exactly what all of these are, but these attacks are things like combos, hammers, rushes, crushes, uppercuts, punches, and whatnot, which expresses the Werehog form's more focus on physical prowess than on speed, which naturally you get when Sonic is not in his Werehog form during the day. I want to say that there might have been upgrades that you could give to not Werehog Sonic 2, when Sonic is in his Hedgehog form, you just upgrade stats as typical. His speed, his ring capacity, and the time that he is able to boost when doing his boosty thing. This concept of experience in Sonic Unleashed is not specifically unique to just Sonic Unleashed. It also makes an appearance, albeit in different forms, in the Sonic Storybook series, as well as Sonic Forces, apparently. Although I don't really know how they work in those games because I haven't played any of them. Blackus, did you play Secret Rings, Black Knight?
Black Knight I did a little bit. Secret Rings I only really played the party mode because that was really fun. Janky, but really fun.
So I'm trying to remember when I played Sonic Unleashed, and I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. But you said you were doing some research around the promotional material for the game that was kind of intriguing to you.
Yeah, one of the big standouts for promotion for the game, especially for Sonic games, was they released a short film for the game called like Sonic Night of the Werehog. I'll actually include a link to it in the description where it takes place at this haunted house inhabited by 3 ghosts. Sue, I don't know how to pronounce that, and La. Sue and are photographers, and basically what they do is if someone comes into the house, they will try and scare them as much as they can and snap pictures of their terrified face. They both show their pictures to La, and whichever one she likes more, she will pin it to like a pinboard, and she will give that photographer a kiss on the cheek. And they both like her, so competition. Sonic and Chip come on into the house because it's raining, it's pouring. Chip is already kind of scared going into this spooky mansion, and Sonic's just like, yeah, whatever. So Sue and are basically constantly scaring the heck out of Chip and snapping tons of pictures of him. Chip is so scared to the point that Sonic purposely scares him by flashing a light in his face, making a face, and Chip basically collapses on the ground. And Sue and are showing all of their pictures to La, and she's getting a kick out of a lot of them. But then she starts seeing the pictures of Sonic where he's either unamused, unimpressed, or making a silly face, and is actually getting mad about it. Sue and decide to make this a challenge. They're like, okay, we want to scare him. They go to try and scare Sonic and Chip. Chip is terrified, and Sonic is not really scared. And then the clouds part, and it's a full moon. So Sonic transforms into the Werehog, beats them both up.
Oh my gosh.
They retreat and get infuriated. So they do basically a fusion dance into, I believe it's Barker is their combined name. It's like a Minotaur bowl kind of deal. And it has like green ethereal energy around him instead of like white like a normal ghost. He starts fighting Sonic the Werehog. They're just duking it out. He's winning because first off, he's like, your attacks go through me now. And oh, well, I can turn invisible too. And basically he's using that for cheap shots on Sonic. But Chip figures out that if you use a camera and take a picture, you can still see where he is because he still shows up on the photograph. He has Sonic like take a bunch of pictures trying to find out where Barker is. Barker still wails on Sonic, kind of throws him around and knocks him unconscious despite his best efforts. As Barker approaches the unconscious Werehog, he sees the camera by him and wants to take a picture of the defeated Werehog. This is where Sue and actually start to split because they start arguing over who's gonna take the picture. And in that moment, Sonic gets back up, flings them around, and throws them through the roof of the mansion. Also, La saw Sonic in this Werehog state and became infatuated, for a lack of a better word. She really liked the Werehog.
I think a piece of the internet also likes the Werehog.
Oh yeah. To the point where the end of the film, it's bright and sunny out, but Sonic is still in Werehog form. He goes to leave the mansion with Chip, and Chip is very insistent on taking a picture with him. And so Sonic's like, okay, fine, whatever. They take a picture, and it's actually La in disguise as Chip, because the real Chip is tied up to a chair in the mansion being guarded by Sue and
Oh my gosh.
Sonic casually abandons his friend and now has a ghost impersonating his friend. The reason I wanted to bring this up is this seems like a one and done deal, but this short film actually got a sequel called Ghost Tales. And this sequel came out in 2023. So that's like, what, 15 years later?
Recently. Yeah, what? Wait, 2008 to, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Basically, this one, it's still in that same mansion. It's Sue, La, and then these ghost babies. Sue and are using telekinesis to lift objects. Is lifting like a plate and having it like dance around, very nimble, versus Sue is using telekinesis on heavier objects like chairs and whatnot. Both trying to impress La, as they do, and also the ghost babies are being entertained by this. This gives La the idea. She's like, oh, I want to do telekinesis. So she sees a grand piano and tries to do telekinesis on it. But she either doesn't have telekinesis at all or her ability is very weak. So she straight up cannot lift this thing and is on the verge of crying because she can't lift the piano.
Aw.
So Sue and decide basically to kind of go in the back and are using their telekinesis together to lift the piano for her, so she thinks that she's lifting the piano. All of the baby ghosts are playing with it. She's playing with it. Her smile, it does a lot for Sue and like they're happy because now she's not crying anymore.
Hey, I suppose small wins for an eternal of undeadness.
And then like the next day, she tries to use her telekinesis on a large oak tree in the backyard, which the short ends with her and Sue and in the background all struggling trying to lift this oak tree.
And so I guess the oak tree continued to live a long life?
Yeah, because they never ripped it out of the ground.
Oh my
It
God.
ends with them struggling to get it out.
I didn't realize that there was this whole offshoot of little ghosty characters, all from a little Sonic Unleashed short. Did the Night of the Werehog come out prior to the game?
It did come out prior because this was like a promotional thing that they did for it. I think there was actually a point where you could watch it on like a Comcast before the game came out.
Interesting.
The only reason I knew this animation existed was because I used to watch a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog AMVs, and a lot of footage from this was used in those. So that's how I knew it existed. Yeah, and these characters, like, they have like a little cameo appearance in, like, I believe it's the Archie comics.
Yeah. And also the IDW too.
And it's very interesting because Ian Flynn says trying to use these characters is actually really complicated because they are intellectual properties of Marza Animation Planet, which they're the people who did the animations. Although they are owned by Sega, they're not like directly owned by Sega, so that we can't really use them too often.
That's fair. At least from what I see here, there's a little like strip from issue number 63 in the IDW publishing where Sonic and the gang are in the sewers of Spagonia, and it looks like La, Sa, and are just like hanging behind a sewer grate with La being like at a little heart emotion looking at Sonic, seemingly not in werehog form.
Yeah, and Sue and do not look impressed.
No, not in the least bit. So I wonder, like, if this animation came out before the game, does that mean that technically speaking, this is the werehog's first appearance?
I believe so. In addition for promotional material, there was a smart car in the streets of Britain that had Sonic Unleashed on it.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at this thing. That's great. Oh, interesting. It's Sonic, but not transformed. But I guess the other side of the car, I feel like the other side of the car is the transformed form, maybe?
Maybe because, again, that is the pose he's in on, like, the cover of the box. It's just, it's not doing, like, the half and half, which it's interesting because that wasn't their original idea for the box. Originally, they were going to do that kind of cover where, like, at one angle, you see, like, normal Sonic, and then, like, at another angle, you see full werehog Sonic.
Oh, you mean like, one of those...
Liminal.
I don't know what you call it.
It's liminal something.
Lenticular. That's it.
Yeah, they originally wanted to do a lenticular cover for the game, but then they just decided to just do this half and half, which, I mean, all right.
I feel like it's probably easier.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Lenticular would have been really cool, though.
It would have been really cool, but it may have also increased cost, and they wouldn't have wanted to do that.
I wonder why they didn't just do like a special release, like a pre-order bonus where you get the lenticular cover.
Oh man, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, right? I didn't realize about the surrounding promotional material around Sonic Unleashed. It's such a cool and unique game, dude.
It's interesting as well because them developing the game, like kind of going into the game, this was originally planned to be another Sonic Adventure game.
Like a Sonic Adventure 3?
Yeah, like I believe one of the original titles for it was Sonic Adventure World, because you were kind of going around the world. world. But then like one of the directors was just like, no. Like, we're just going to make the gameplay about Sonic. So you're only playing a Sonic. And with that being the case, they kind of like removed world, at least from the English release of the game, because now it's not a Sonic adventure game.
And I suppose the name Sonic Unleashed is kind of a reference to like the Unleashed mode that Werehog has access to, which is kind of just like I'm cool and I'm glowing blue and I'm real powerful and invincible. That's more game mechanic. I mean, personally, I think Sonic Unleashed is a cooler name than, what is it, Sonic Adventure World? Yeah, Sonic Unleashed sounds cooler. It really gives the idea that there is this feral beast locked inside of Sonic this whole time, brought out by the negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds, which is apparently how the Werehog works.
Tell me more about the Werehog.
When I was doing my deep dive on the Werehog, I was like, I feel like it connected a couple of dots for me. Let's take it way back. Let's take it way back to the early comics. And I think we made reference to this into another episode where the origin of Dr. Robotnik and Sonic the Hedgehog was because of them absorbing like the negative energy of Chaos Emeralds. It turned Sonic from bad to good and Eggman from good to bad. Since that, I've been like, yeah, but like, is there really negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds? And there is, admittedly. Chaos gets access to the negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds and goes super crazy blammo. And then notably, when the Chaos Emeralds are taken away from him, he maintains that form. The Werehog, something very similarly. Evidently, this laser that Eggman developed was pushing out Chaos Emerald energy, and negative energy of the Chaos Emerald was absorbed into Sonic, as opposed to, I suppose, the positive energy of the Chaos Emeralds, which would turn him super. Instead, it's negative, and it turns him, quote unquote, evil. Even evil is not a misnomer either. Well, because in the game files of Sonic Unleashed, the Werehog form is considered evil Sonic.
Like, he's not necessarily evil, because I could see people saying like it's like a dark transformation, like a negative Super Sonic.
Yes, dude.
But the thing is, like, it doesn't change Sonic's personality or anything. He's still him.
No. And oddly enough, too, like, Sonic the Werehog, like, it's not like his heart is any different than it was previously. It's just his form. He's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more feral. He's got a different appearance. His body form changes. He gets more fur. He's got sharp fangs. He's always looking angry because his eyes are finally separate.
Yeah.
As opposed to another transformation brought about by negative energies. Darkspine Sonic. Darkspine Sonic, if I recall, is like angry, like seemingly a different type of person than the Werehog is. But we don't see Darkspine very often.
Well, yeah,
we only saw it once.
Yeah, Darkspine was because that wasn't from Chaos Emeralds, that was from the World Rings.
Yeah.
Specifically, it was like sorrow, anger, and another one as well. But
sadness, maybe?
But they were all negative emotions.
Having another transformation of Sonic, I'm like mildly obsessed with transformations in the world of Sonic and beyond. But like this one in particular was like, okay. So it does further amplify this notion that the power of chaos is not just one-sided. It's got a duality to it that does represent itself, at least in two forms, positive and negative. And that makes me think too, like, what other iterations of characters would you see if negative Chaos Emerald energy was injected into other beings? That's a deep dive for a whole nother episode. Would basically be a Chaos Emerald episode version 2, or like super transformations in general. But I don't know, when I saw that about, oh, yo, this is negative Chaos Emerald energy, more or less confirmed, it was that same like duh moment when we were doing the Wisp episode, and we were like, what if there was a negative Hyper Goemon energy? Nega Mother Wisp.
Oh,
negative
there literally
Hyper
is negative Hyper
and we were
Goemon
like,
energy.
oh, yeah. I also just like ultimately, like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a bit of a fanboy for Sonic the Werehog. He just looks so cool. He looks so cool looking.
I like the spikes. I kind of like that he's a more angry, like monstrous.
Dude,
I will say the long, big arms are really goofy.
And you know what's even goofier? Think about this. Sonic the Hedgehog wears gloves. Sonic the Werehog does not. Where the heck are the gloves going?
I believe in the transformations that we watch, they get destroyed, which then brings the question, where does Sonic get more gloves?
Yo, if Amy's got hammer space, Sonic the Werehog clearly has glove space. And in addition, did you look at those shoes? Not only does Sonic transform, but his shoes do too.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, why do his shoes transform?
And that makes me wonder if his arms got longer, if his shoulders got broader, did his shoe size change? Or are the shoes just a part of the transformation? Like we've seen in the past, Chaos Emeralds can change the form of sentient living beings.
Mm-hmm.
And they can also power non-sentient, non-living beings. But can they change? Can they change inanimate objects like shoes? Or is it all just an illusion of the mind? Is this more like a phantom effect, like a phantom ruby would be? I don't know, man.
Yeah, because
the werehog's making my mind confused.
Because I'm trying to think, because I was thinking maybe like Super Neo Metal, but I'm like, nope, that was the Master Emerald. And same with Master Overlord. Again, even in Sonic Heroes, with Neo Metal into
Metal Madness,
he doesn't have the Chaos Emeralds. That's his own being. Yeah, I don't think we have an instance of them transforming any immaterial object, at least in the video game chronology, because I think closest we get is in Sonic X, Eggman has a ship that transforms into a giant robot. He gets the Chaos Emeralds in it. It kind of goes from like silver to gold, has a little bit of a gold aura around it, but like that's it. I don't know if we're including a color palette change.
I don't know if I'm just looking too deeply into this, but like evidently Chaos Emerald energy in some form can change the appearance of my shoes. And that makes me wonder.
Wait, I just thought of something horrible. What if it can specifically transform something that was like living tissue at one point?
Oh.
Because if his shoes are leather.
Wait. Oh, okay.
That used to be something.
No, I see where you're going with this.
But I don't.
Leather shoes. Who makes sneakers out of leather?
I don't know.
Do leather sneakers exist? This is no longer Sonic the Sonic universe. Yeah, leather sneakers.
Now I'm looking more at his shoes. I'm kind of backtracking a little in my mind because the parts that have really changed look like maybe the strap, because that looks like metal and spikes now. But he has spikes on the underside, which would be rubber. So that's a processed material.
Bro, Sonic the Werehog, like of all of Sonic's transformations, there is no transformation more prepared to be playing soccer than Sonic the Werehog. That dude's got cleats ready. Yeah. And those claws for playing goalie? Oh my god, dude.
Oh my god. Dude, I would not
get that man in FIFA.
I would not want to get near him because I would be afraid of getting slashed up, scratched up. Also, I feel like if he played any sport, like one like basketball, I feel like he would cheat with his extendo arms, just like from across the court slam dunk. My partner overheard a little bit and had an interesting argument saying that rubber does technically come from something organic because it comes from tree sap.
What are you trying to get at here, Lycos?
So if the Chaos Emerald energy does transform something that was living, maybe it would transform the soles of the shoes?
Okay, well, by that logic, Lycos, that would imply that if sap is living and can be transformed by the Chaos Emeralds, what if I just made something out of, like, I don't know, my dead skin, or like my sweat, or my saliva, or my teeth, specifically only after they've been ripped out of my body? Hold up a second. Bones.
I feel like bones could transform because that would actually work because that was from organic, like living material.
What if the soles of Sonic's shoes have been made out of flexible bone this whole time, like marrow?
Ugh. We don't even know who makes Sonic shoes.
Actually, hold up a second.
Can we find his shoe dealer?
So, at least for Sonic Adventure 2, the grind shoes in particular are very specifically made. And I believe leading up to the game, there was a particular shoe company that they were like consulting for this.
Oh, wow.
Before I deep dive into this, Lycos, I had just had an amazing idea for another LoreX episode.
Okay.
Sonic's shoes.
Yes.
What if the whole next episode is just on his shoes?
What are those?
What are those? Before I go on to that, where do we find ourselves?
I still have tons to talk about. I'm not done. I wanted to kind of talk about how the public, the gaming community, perceived this game.
Sure, tell me more.
In terms of sales, the game did actually really well. I believe it sold like 2-point-something million copies among like all of the consoles it was for. However, its ratings are not the best. Generally, a lot of people really liked the daytime sections. It felt like Sonic Adventure. Like it was like fun platforming. charming, it was fast paced, it was really fun. What actually killed it was the Werehog stages. A lot of people didn't like them because they felt they were boring, they were tedious, they weren't fans of the very combat heavy sections, which was funny because like the director, when he wanted to do this Werehog aspect, did it because he was like, oh, we can mix up the gameplay and make it fun for the player. The public were like,
wasn't really that
no, like not big fans of it. Some players were also not fans of how the humans looked in Sonic Unleashed for the art direction there. That was actually because they were trying to go off of Pixar. So like
yeah,
a lot of like the cutscenes are like very bright, they're very colorful. And yeah, they wanted to do like these overly cartoony human characters, which is a very stark contrast to Sonic 06 2 years prior, where the opening cutscene, it gave me Final Fantasy vibes.
Yeah, dude. I mean, did you look at Eggman in that game?
Yeah, they try to go like really realistic. Now 2 years later, they're going like really cartoony. That was a little weird for some players. Again, a lot of people just complained about the Werehog stages, and even some of the side quests people complained about because they're like a lot of the NPCs like don't tell you what you need to do. It's basically just pointless, boring dialogue. It's interesting because there's actually like controversy in here. This is about the English voice acting, because some people are saying like, oh, the voice acting was bad, but others are saying like, oh no, they felt the voice acting was fine.
Okay.
And yeah, some fans saying that this was some of Jason Griffith's best roles as Sonic, and he was the voice actor of Sonic in Sonic X, because this was still around the time of 4Kids. So they got a bunch of the voice actors who did the voices for Sonic X characters onto Sonic Unleashed. And ultimately the game, it did get better reviews like as it kind of aged, and has basically become a cult classic in the Sonic community. It's got like a little cult following.
Just as a quick aside too, like it's got such a following that in the world of people trying to continue to play the game because it's for systems that are getting older and older with every single year, very recently there was a do you know what a recompilation is, or a decompilation?
I know the term, but I don't know the best way to explain it.
Think of it like, you know how you can emulate games?
Yeah.
You take something for one system and you just put it on a computer. Recompiling is like basically taking the source code and being able to build it for a whole new system, so it runs a heck of a lot better. It's a heck of a lot more optimized. And very recently, actually, Sonic Unleashed Recompiled was just released. And in order to play it legally, you should have a copy of the game, but you can essentially run a very well optimized version of Sonic Unleashed on PC through potentially legitimate, legally ambiguous ways. I haven't had a chance to play it, but that's because I don't have a copy of Sonic Unleashed anymore. Personally, like in my opinion, the stark contrast between the Werehog sections and the Hedgehog sections is admittedly very disruptive in a way. I can see why the Hedgehog versus Werehog sections can be disruptive to players who are used to the traditional Sonic goes fast type gameplay. And admittedly, the Werehog is not fast. He's powerful, he's muscular, and he's got fangs.
Again, it's also weird because, again, you have like this grinding on rails platform, you just gotta go fast, and then these slow combat-based sections where you're fighting enemies who have straight up health bars. In like other Sonic games, like you might have an enemy who can take like a couple hits to get destroyed, but they don't straight up have like big health bars where you need to hit them like over 3 times to kill them.
Come to think of it, off the top of my head, the 3 games that I can think of that enemies have like obvious health bars are Sonic Heroes, Sonic 06, and Sonic Unleashed. But for some reason, among those 3, it feels that it was best implemented in Sonic Heroes.
Yeah.
Although it's got its frustrations. But like people didn't like that about Sonic Unleashed. People really didn't like that about Sonic 06. And maybe this is just like this intention that like long drawn out battles in Sonic games should be reserved for boss battles. They happen infrequently. They happen at story climaxes, not like throughout the regular rise and fall of the
not like
game.
in just a random stage at this one section. It's like, oh yeah, here's like this guy you have to beat who will take like 5+ hits. What? Why? Like, this is just wasting my time. I gotta go.
Instead of gotta go fast, it's gotta combo good. And fans were not the biggest fan of that in Sonic Unleashed.
I don't want to poop talk some of the visual stuff in Sonic Unleashed because there's one really funny visual thing that looks just awful.
Which one? Is it Dark Gaia on the fact that he's got eyes in his mouth?
No. So this
that
was
one
actually,
to me is hilarious.
So this was brought up to my attention when the Game Grumps were playing it. I don't remember which specific version they were playing. I want to say it was either the PlayStation or the 360 version. Basically, the worst version of the game. In the nighttime section, they were looking at the night sky and the moon was very clearly a JPEG because you could straight up see the square outline around the moon because it was like
Wait, really?
a shade of black darker than the rest of the background. So it was very noticeable. Where do we find ourselves? It's a full moon. We are transformed, hairy, spiky. Even our shoes are spiky. And I have an odd desire for chips. Cameron is drawing something on his board behind him. I see what looks like an ear. I see a triangle, I think. I cannot tell.
It's the werehog.
What?
Obviously.
Can you move more to the side? Okay, so it's like a ball with spikes. Oh, those lower okay. You got spiky ears, you got some spiky teeth, you got some fangs and an angry face going on. And now it's saying,
Just tell me when to stop. Just tell me when to stop.
You're not allowed to stop. You have to keep writing H's forever. And Cameron with an X has fallen into a bottomless pit.
Yeah, I'm gone.
Goodbye, sir.
I'm gone. Until next episode.
Yeah.
Wait. But if I'm the werehog, that means I can just use my extendo arms to yoink myself back up.
Nice use of the boom arm.